Let's start our introduction to open-end investment companies. Our learning objectives for this session are to go over buying and selling a mutual fund share, the idea of forward pricing, the difference in share classes, and all of that wonderful mutual fund math. So when we're buying and selling mutual funds, we always have to remember that they're offered in the primary market continuously under the 33 Act. So if you want to buy into a mutual fund, your purchase requires a prospectus. According to the SEC and FINRA, a fund's prospectus must be updated every 16 months. A mutual fund's net asset value, or NAV, is calculated at the close of business every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Securities in the fund are marked to market. That means that they're priced at the close of business that day. Investors in a mutual fund will always redeem or sell or liquidate at the fund's net asset value using forward pricing. A mutual fund also has a public offering price, or POP. That is based off of the net asset value, or the NAV. So remember, investors purchase at the POP, the public offering price. Look here, both purchase and production, they all start with a P, so they all go together. The maximum sales charge set by FINRA is 8.5% of the offering price. We'll discuss some of the features that need to be offered in the fund in order to charge the 8.5% maximum allowable by law. Now let's talk about the sales charge percentage formula, and this is a must-know for the Series 6 exam. We're looking for that sales charge percentage, right? So if we want to find the sales charge percentage, we take the public offering price, or the POP, minus the net asset value, and then divide it by the public offering price. So what if we have an NAV of $20, and let's say we have a public offering price that's $20.50. What is the sales charge percentage? Well, the offer price is $20.50, the NAV is 20, so it gives me a 50-cent difference divided by the public offering price of $20.50. It'll come out on your calculator to be 0.02349, so it ends up being 2.439%, or 2.4% rounded up. So what about forward pricing? With a mutual fund, you get the next available price, and pricing doesn't happen until 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if an investor sends in a purchase request and the fund receives their fund request before 4 p.m. Eastern, the investor will get that day's public offering price. If they received the purchase price or the purchase request after 4 p.m. Eastern, then they will get the next business day's public offering price. If they receive a redemption request from an investor and it's received before 4 p.m. Eastern, the investor will receive that day's net asset value. If we receive it after 4 p.m. Eastern, the investor will receive the next business day's net asset value, or NAV. Now, let's take a look at our three main share classes for mutual funds. The first one we take a look at is our Class A share. Class A shares charge an upfront sales charge, or a load. We assume that all funds that they talk about on the funds, or they talk about on the tests that are mutual funds, we assume it's a Class A share unless they tell us otherwise. This is used for a larger dollar amount purchase and for long-term time horizons. I'm going to add this a second time. Assume this is the share class that you see on the test. With a Class B share, it charges a contingent deferred sales charge, or a CDSC, which works like a sliding sales charge, declining. It gets lower each year that you hold the fund longer and longer until eventually it declines to zero. Usually by year 7, that Class B share has a sales charge of 0%. So if they're really long term and they want no sales charge, this could be really good for intermediate term investors with a smaller dollar amount to invest who don't want to pay a lot of sales charge. Finally, Class C shares are level load, and therefore they're for investors with an uncertain or very short time horizon. Class C shares also have the highest 12b1 fees. And remember that 12b1 fees become a drag on the performance over the long term. So if it's an annual 12b1 fee of 0.025%, well, over the long term, if they hold it forever, that adds up and becomes a drag on the portfolio. So that might not offer the investor the lowest sales charge if that's what they're looking to get. That's why Class C shares are for short-term investors, usually 1 year or less, because the 12b1 fees become a drag on the performance of the portfolio over the long term. So just remember, Class Cs are for uncertain or very short time horizon investors. So a Class A shares will get a reduction in sales charge. They can do that through breakpoints, letters of intent, and rights of accumulation. According to FINRA, that's who sets the maximum sales charge. In order for a fund to charge the 8.5 maximum sales charge, it must offer these 3 features. So let's look at another calculation, another formula that we need to know for the Series 6 exam, the public offer price, or POP. In order to find the public offering price, because remember, the sales charge percentage is always expressed as a percentage of the offering price. We take the net asset value and divide it by 100% minus the sales charge percentage to get the public offering price. So if we have an NAV of $20, and let's say that the sales charge is 6%, right? So the sales charge is 6%, $20 divided by, I've got to take 100 minus 6%, or 1 minus 0.06, that gives us 94% or 0.94. So really what this ends up being is $20 divided by 94%, or 0.94, which gives me a public offering price of $20.22. All right, so when we're calculating the NAV, this is another formula that we'll want to know for the Series 6 exam. We'll take the public offering price and multiply it by, again, the complement of the sales charge. So what if we have a public offering price of $22 and a sales charge of 4%? So what is the NAV? Well, $22, and then we have 100% minus 4%, which is really 1 minus 0.04, which is really 96%. So $22 times 96% will give us the net asset value. And our net asset value ends up being $21.12. So here's what we've took a look at during this module: buying and selling mutual fund shares. This whole idea about forward pricing, the 3 main share classes, Class A, Class B, and Class C, and of course, the mutual fund math, including the sales charge percentage, the public offering price, and the net asset value formula. That concludes our session today. I'm Colin Kleck. Go over to millionairesintraining.com and practice with our testing simulations. Read the explanation and click the check answer box as you're learning. Switch into final exam mode to really test yourself. You won't be able to review your answers, but you'll be scored exactly the same and similar to how the real exam is going to be. You can still review your answers after you complete the test in the final exam mode, but you won't know how you're doing as you go along. So be certain that you have that gut feeling that you get your answers correct and you know why they are what they are. Don't just memorize. Understand the concept behind what it is, because obviously on your real exam, these tests are going to be different from different answers. So if you're memorizing the answers to certain questions, well, they're going to be different. Make sure you understand the concepts and can solve for any pattern of questions. I'll see you guys in the next video.